All right, we are recording. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you all here. Yay.
That was a Monty Python and the Holy Grail, yay.
Well,
is there a better kind?
Yeah, I was going to say it's high praise. Because actually, that's what Monty Python's all about, is just taking the piss out of the me. The me takes everything so seriously.
And when you try to talk to someone who takes things seriously to lighten up, it doesn't work.
No, no.
So I live with someone who takes himself very seriously, and the only thing I can do is be a muse. I mean, and be a fairy and float around, because if I meet him with that dense energy, it doesn't work. There's too much, when the ego thinks it's right, it's nothing, it's like, what can you say? It's a closed loop, it's a closed mind. And, so I'm just trying to get him to, do you have an open mind? Can you consider other possibilities? Can you do that? It reminded me of the movie, The Field of Dreams, where initially not everyone could see the baseball players. And the brother-in-law and the bankers got really pissed at Kevin Costner because they couldn't see the field. They couldn't see the players. And then in the end, the brother-in-law had an incident where his niece almost choked on a hot dog, and he had something shattered, and he said, where did these baseball players come from? And they'd always been there. So it's like you have to wake yourself up. No one can do it for you.
Well, that's just it. There's no you to wake up.
I know, but I'm using language for my own purposes, because I'm not, there's still a me in Joan, there's not completely,
No,
there's something.
there's not. Guys, the message here, no, well, excuse me, but there is someone I think we all will be happy when I let in. My brother from another mother.
Of course.
So yeah, Joan, there's just what's happening. That's it.
I get caught in, the Joan character gets caught in some kind of quicksand or something.
Well, the Monty Python strategy would be, if they're too serious, beat them until they cheer up.
Beat them until they cheer up.
Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, I there's a lot of dense energy in my whole family. They're all very dense. They have righteous minds, and I just sit there and I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
okay, Joan. So can you notice right now, that's all story?
yeah.
Okay, so let's come back. What's going on just right here with this?
I think I'm identified with something, because something seems to be real. There's a character, there's an identification, there's a story, and it's just what's happening. I'm intellectually understand this isn't a mental movement,
Right.
but I haven't had experiential. It's not experiential for me as yet. I've had a few glimpses where everything dropped. but then something comes back.
Yeah, Joan comes back.
Oh my God. I don't know where she came from. I don't know
Yeah.
how she got here, but there it is.
So you're not doing that.
Something is doing it.
No, nothing is doing it.
Well, so Joan doesn't understand what that means.
I would just say, Joan, you know, if you can take it back to this is how it appears. It appears that there's a Joan and she's struggling and everyone's dancing. This is how it appears,
Okay.
because that leaves a little crack open because that is the truth, right?
Yes.
That's how it's appearing. But is that
I'm
the absolute truth, or is that a relative? Is that a relative truth or an absolute truth?
Relative. It's not absolute.
Okay, so just you know, these words like appears, and Paul Hederman has a good one. Seemingly Joan has a dense energy, whatever. If you just keep getting back to that, it just keeps opening up that crack of.
I've been binging on Paul Hederman all week. I love his New York accent, and I love that he swears because it's candy to me.
Agreed. Being from New York, agreed. I really connect.
Yeah, I'm
with him.
from New York. Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's from
so,
Long Island, and I'm from a little bit north of there.
Yeah.
So
He's from Long Island, so
yeah. Yeah, so Joan has a density. I don't know where it comes from. It comes and goes. It's like an energy wave. And I know that there's resistance in there. And when there's resistance, there's a contraction in my body.
seemingly.
But that's what's happening. It's like a wave of energy, and it comes and goes. And I just like, my head is starting to spin off my head. And at times it's very painful, and at times it's very light. It's like shit or get off the pot, like get out of, just be done with it. But
Joan, would you say that pain appears for Joan or pain appears? What's more accurate?
there's identification, and it appears for the character. But I mean, I just, because I'm also listening to Eckhart Tolle a lot. So, the pain body and the contraction and stuff. So just kind of dancing with that. There's something contracts and there's some pain. And
So can we start off by saying this message is about not knowing? Jim Newman was talking about this is a mystery. You don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Nobody knows what this is.
it just feels like energy frequencies or something. Like I said, the only thing I know is that I can't know this. That I know.
Doesn't stop you from trying. So you don't really know that, because Joan does not know that, right? Joan is knowing. And everything that you just said so far tonight is just beautiful scripture for every single me. That's the story of the me. So
Yeah,
what
they're me constructs.
it's like a little kid who just says, I'm going to hold my breath, you know, until I turn blue, or until this experience changes into what I need, into what I want. And I'm not going to be happy until then. Because my happiness depends on having this experience be the way I want it. And I'm waiting. Like, I don't know if you listen to Tim Kliss, but he's always talking about how the me is always waiting for that change, for this to be just a little different.
I can relate to that very well.
Yeah. And that's because the me knows a lot. And one of the things it really knows is that this, oh, hey, new, and this is not right. It's not what I want. It's not okay. So
There's a lot of kicking and screaming going on.
yeah.
I like what you said, Dan, because I don't know if you realize that you said that's every me,
Mm,
you know, and it's true. I mean, what you're saying, Joan, is not unique to you. You know, the structure of what's happening to you is every me in the world. So just keep that in mind. You know, I think that's important.
Yeah, it's universal.
There are no me's and there are no worlds.
so there's no freedom from that, which is why we point to unknowing.
There's
Mike,
just,
you
there's
wanna say
just
a little bit?
this. There's just this. No matter what it looks like, it's always this. And it can look like anything and everything. So you can't pin it down. I don't know what this is.
And we're not waiting for it to get better, because it doesn't get better. It doesn't get worse. It doesn't change. It's always this. I'm almost introducing NKOSI and NKOSI to tell us about how the me is it's just what it is.
I know NKOSI always gives us pearls, just
Yeah.
pearls. And it's so early in the morning for him that he even showed up. Thank you for being here, NKOSI.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The me is just an appearance. It's just an appearance in this. So whatever that might appear, might seem to appear in this, is still this as well. It cannot be separated from this because it comes from the same source. It's still it. So there's no separate appearance that's come from outside of this, because there's no outside of this. Everything is this. You know, the one who seems to struggle is still this. You know, that one appears in this as this. It cannot be a separate appearance that comes from somewhere else, because there's no somewhere else, there's only this. So whatever may appear, it doesn't touch this. You know, everything is just this. It appears and disappears in this. Nobody can ever get to anywhere because there's nobody. There's no person. A person or the me is just an appearance. It's just an illusion. It seems to be real, but it's not real. So there's only this, and there will always be this, nothing else but this. There's no one who's struggling. Everyone is okay because it's just this. You are okay where you are right now. Everybody is okay, but there's no separate individual that's come from somewhere else. Even what's so-called, what seems to be somewhere else is still this. This includes everything, yet it's nothing. This is formless. This cannot be found. No one can find this because it is formless and empty. It is you and you are it. Yet there's no you. There's just this. There's just what's happening. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody is seeking anything. Nobody's struggling. Nobody has got it. Nobody will ever get it. No one can get this because there's just this. There's no one here. You are not. And this right here doesn't know anything, and it will never know anything. It just knows itself as nothing. Right there, right there where you are it already. And it is not apart from you. It is you and you are it. No matter what thought may appear, it is still this. You are it. There's no James, there's no NKOSI here. There's no anyone here, there's just this. Even the one who seems to be shy, even the one who's afraid to talk, even the one who thinks to himself or herself, I will never ever get this. It can never be anything else but this. You are it, and it is not apart from you. And you can't get it because there's no you, there's just it. This. And this is just happening for no one.
I feel like I'm caught in that Chinese finger thing, you know, you pull it, it gets tighter. Yeah.
Well, that's what we call Joan. That's what we call the me. It's that
Yes.
feeling of being, it's an appearance, as NKOSI just said.
Yeah.
That's the appearance of being caught. Every me is that. Being caught and needing to get out, needing to get the next thing that will get me out. And that also already starts from knowledge. I know I'm caught. I know I can get out. I know if I get the right, more knowledge to how to do it. That's the me. And it's just appearing in this, as this. It's just this appearing in that, as that idea, as that story. We can call it, it's the story of being separate, of something being separate from something else, something needing something else, something not being okay. It's a story. It's this appearing as a story. And that's the me. But it doesn't change this, because this is all there is. Yesterday, tomorrow.
Have anybody ever seen a dog growl at its own tail? Right? It doesn't recognize its own tail, so it starts growling at it. You get away from me, I'm gonna get you. And it starts chasing its tail very angrily, but it just can't quite catch it, thank goodness. So in a way, we can say me is chasing itself, but it doesn't know it. It's already it. It's already what it seeks, but it doesn't know it.
Well, it's starting from the wrong place.
Yeah, and that wrong place, Corey, is that it exists. That's where it's starting from. I exist. That's the wrong place because it doesn't exist.
And then anything from then on, it's already lost the game, so to speak.
Yeah, then it goes to the Zoom meeting and to try to find out, how can I figure out that I don't exist? How can I find out?
It's not working.
That's funny, Dan. But he's right. Tell me something to convince me that I don't exist.
So you wonder why the plan isn't working.
Beats the hell out of me.
Because there's nothing to do for this. This is already this, right? And it's never going to get any more this or any less.
So what happens with the incessant dialogue that's constantly playing out, you know, that incessant dialogue? What happens with that? All the conditioning.
What needs to happen?
We have a question from me submitted. What are we going to answer? What happens with the incessant dialogue?
I don't know where that dialogue comes from. And there's also a DJ that plays music.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the DJ is either. I don't know where the songs come from.
No, you don't know anything, Joan.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all of a sudden I'm doing something. There's a song in my head. I'm like, how the hell did, what, you know? And then the song changes. I'm like, what? How did, you know? Where did, you know? I don't know where this stuff comes from.
So Joan, when I say unknowable, what are you hearing?
Cognitively, I'm hearing it's unknowable. And cognitively, I understand it's not a mental movement, but it's cognitive, it's not experiential.
I would suggest, Joan, to shift your attention to the silence behind the words in the songs.
So anybody, if you have a question or comment, please feel free to unmute and jump right in. I posted a couple posts today. The first was the Jim Newman, that this is all mystery. And it occurred to me that the me doesn't, it makes one little, instead of saying mystery, it turns the E into an O and it becomes my story.
Oh,
Ron is disrupting my enlightenment. Stop it, Ron. He's looking at the checkbook. Dude. Wait, are we surprised?
I know the me in its natural
I was
habit.
gonna say, such a Ron move.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'd just like to say that this morning I woke up with a lot of anxiety. You know, sometimes I just get physical anxiety, whatever. I woke up with anxiety and, you know, lots of thoughts to give to that anxiety. And I could feel my mind like trying to wiggle out of it, you know, like, well, okay, you know, like all these things. I was like, you know what? Maybe just don't try to wiggle out of it. Like just, and like without all the overlay of labels and stuff, it's not, you know, it's just, I don't even know what it is. But of course, I would like to say that I would like to not feel that way.
Yeah, of course.
I'd like to just feel love, bliss, whatever that, you know, thing you always say. That, okay, that's my preference. That's Amy's preference.
Yeah, so my second post after the mistaking, thank you, Amy, mystery for my story is that the me says, okay, well, I know all there is this, but I want the other all there is this. Yeah. So there is no other this. This is however it is. That's the beauty. I have to tell you guys, that's my love for this message, is how inclusive and accepting it is for anything that's arising. There's no judgment from this.
Okay, so why is there no other this? I mean, the whole idea of another this, that doesn't come from any kind of experience. It comes from this me being already separate and already seeing things in terms of this or that. There could be another. But you just said all these, if only I could just, you said it's okay without all the labels. Amy, didn't you just say that? This, it turns out actually there's no problem with this. It's all those labels that make it a problem. The me doesn't see this. It sees all a this that's full of labels everywhere. That's the knowledge. Labels are all the things I know about this. So the me is seeing this as my knowledge of this. So it's not looking at this. It's not seeing this. It's seeing everything I know, which already includes everything that isn't okay and needs to be okay. That's the story of the me. That's the me's experience every moment.
it sees all the labels.
Hmm?
It sees all the labels.
Yeah. And so then I say, well, I don't want this, I want another this. What it's saying is, I don't like all these labels. I want different labels. It's not seeing this. This is just this, no matter what labels. Because the labels actually are not anything. They're just appearances, they're stories, they're stuff.
Dan, can I say something about that?
Yeah, I wish you would.
Oh no, he went away. We'll have to wait because that had to do with, well, I'll go,
Ron's trying to get away.
maybe he'll come back.
Are you talking about Ron or NKOSI?
Last week, NKOSI made a comment that really, I actually had never heard it before. He was talking about words. And, oh good, he's back. And NKOSI was saying that, where are the words? And right now, look at my lips. Look at my mouth moving. I was watching NKOSI when he said that, and I realized I don't see any words coming out of his mouth. I just see his mouth moving, and I hear sounds, but where are the words?
Well, the sounds happen in here. This is a receiver.
I know, but his question was so direct. He said, where are the words?
It's like when you hear, when I listen to a foreign language and I think like, wow, these sounds mean something, but for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what they mean.
Language is a conspiracy among, two people that know the same sounds. Because language is just, it sounds, but, we've been conditioned or something that in English, this is what English sounds like, in Japanese, that's what Japanese sounds like. But it's just
Question,
sounds that have
couldn't we
been,
apply that to thoughts
I'm working on it.
and everything else?
Yeah, it's just, there's an attachment of some sort
But
and an agreement of some sort.
I want to hear from NKOSI, but I'm going to suggest that the same thing he's saying to words applies to thoughts. Look, can you actually find something called a thought? Is it actually a real thing you can locate?
Feels like a sound in my head that I've labeled, and there's identification of some sort, but it's just a sound. But then there's constructs around the sound.
So NKOSI, can you share with us, please, when you said there are no words?
We're gonna have to start paying him a little more. He's doing all the work.
Yeah, words are the same as thoughts. Thoughts, whatever thought may appear, it cannot be found. Even words, there's just sounds, but you can't find words. Even before there are words, it's just this. And these appear as words, but words cannot be found. The words, the thoughts, and the me are just one and the same thing. They appear in this and disappear in this. There's no one talking. There's no one thinking anything. Everything just appears and disappears in this. the me cannot be located. The words cannot be located. And the thoughts cannot be located because there's just nothing. There's nothing appearing as words and thoughts. So there's just this. Can you find the me? Can the me be found? Can the one who's talking be found? Who are you? Where are you? Just look for yourself.
Well, it feels like it's something in my head. You know, behind my eyes. You know, there's a little man with running the machinery.
What feels that? What feels that?
I don't
Who says it feels that way? Can that one be located? Can that one be found? And who are you?
It's kind of,
Can
it
the-
reminds me of like clouds. You know how clouds, like, they look like they're there, but if you're in an airplane and you actually fly through it, there's really nothing to a cloud. Like, what is it? Where is it? And thoughts are, to me, the same. Words are the same. Pain is the same. Like everything we experience. Pugsley's saying hello.
Mm. There's just this talking. There's nobody who's talking here. No matter which direction the me takes, it is this. There's no me, there's no person, there's no individual. There's no separate individual that's comes from separate somewhere else. There's no somewhere else, it's just this. There's no separation. Nobody is separated from anything. It's just wholeness. It's just everything. No matter who may be talking right now, it is just everything talking. Nobody is talking. No, there's no separate individual who's making a statement or having any idea. It's just this wholeness, everything. Can the me be found? Can the one who's talking be found? Can the one who can't get this be found? Can the one who says, oh, I'm tired, be found? Can the one who says, oh, I'm getting bored, be found? There's only this. Nobody can be found. Thoughts cannot be found. Even the mind cannot be found because there's no mind. There are no words. There's just this. Every feeling is this. No matter, it doesn't matter if it feels to be a bad feeling or a good feeling. A good feeling and a bad feeling is the same feeling, because it is this. Just a matter of getting back to ground zero.
And we'll never get there because ground zero is this.
Yeah.
So the appearance is changing all the time. This is appearing to be something different. Every minute, every way we turn, all these different looks, it looks different, changes. But it doesn't change, it's this. Every appearance is this. That's why it's complete. So the voices in the head, I forgot how you said, Joan, the stuff in the head is one of those, it's part of the appearance. And then this Joan who feels like it's a problem is also appearance and a story. But there's no problem in any of that. It's not a problem for Joan. It's not, and there's no solution to it. It's just what it is, which is just like everything else, like the cloud that Joe just mentioned. The clouds are coming and going. The feelings are coming and going. The thoughts. And then there's this Joan story, or whatever name we put in, because it's always the me, who always has the same story. This appearance right now isn't right, isn't good enough, isn't what I want. And let me try, see if I can change the story so it can all finally be fine, finally be okay. Well, okay, that's a story. We can all recognize that story. But it's just words, it's just noise. It's not happening to anyone.
I have something I want to share, and I hope it's not too far off mark. When you're talking about where are the words, I'm a little bit of a geek, so I take things literally. And I started thinking about a class I took in college where it was the evolution of language. Like, where did language come from? Before writing, before pictures. And the best archaeological evidence they could find was a tool to make a tool. So when Homo habilis could make a tool to make a tool, we officially had the complex structure of a language. But in listening to everybody, it occurred to me that the ability for language came when we were unhappy with how things were, and we had to change it. So a tool is one thing, but a tool to make a tool is really being unhappy with how things are right now. and really wanting to change it. So it's possibly that language actually came from not accepting this and not being okay with this. Does that make sense at all?
I think it makes total sense.
And
Totally.
it just was an interesting kind of loop there that, wow, like we actually possibly created language or the ability for it because we were just so not cool with what was happening, you know, that we had to start changing it. And then you start thinking about thoughts, and it seems like it would be very hard to have this constant flow of thoughts without the language and the words. It's almost like they go hand in hand. So
You
it
can't do it
almost just
without words.
was born from our predecessors' lack of acceptance of what was happening. And here we are, still not accepting it.
Well, but what we're pointing to is that it's a tool to solve a problem that doesn't exist. And that's what, it's a little hard to see, but it's also obvious.
Yeah.
So I'd like to close this evening by mentioning the simplicity. If you're drawn to simplicity, then what could be more simple than there's only this? Anybody have any last comments or questions before we close out this evening? Well, I got one. Thank you so much, NKOSI, for being here. I love
Thank you,
it.
NKOSI. Yeah, thank you, NKOSI.
I love it.
Yeah, love having you here.
Thank you. I love to be here as well.
Thank you so much to everybody for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. Everything is as it is, and everything is always fine, no matter how it appears. This is already whole. You can't do anything about that. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Those who sent donations, much appreciated, and everybody have a great night. And I'll get this up on YouTube. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks,
See ya.
Michael.
Thanks,
Bye. Thank
everyone.
you, Michael.
Dan.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
Bye.
Dan.